Page 54 in Tractate Chruvin, dealing with the importance of Chazarat Halimud. We are fortunate to study every day, and over the years sometimes you get to the routines of study and you don't pay attention the importance of repeating the study again and again. So here, big part of this daf dealing with the importance of Chazarat Halimud, which means go again and study and study and study until you get it clear. And that's a part of the observance, shimur, meaning to carry it so in a 5 or 10 years from now you remember something. While I was teaching at the university in the last semester, I have a big to do with my student, since I did not choose to use a multiple choice. And they get used, as the American students, to have a multiple choice. I taught several classes in the study of humanity and the study of public administration and other secular subjects, and students get used to memorize. Just they make some type of mnemonics statements, they have some point to remember, they repeat the system of memories, and then they pick and choose multiple choice. I choose instead to have them with the open books, writing exactly in their own language and explanations of what we study. For some student was overbearing hard because they have a different system. They just glance over the study, and all the time they are focusing on the using the whatever, texting, iPad, whatever. Some colleagues confiscating their iPad. But anyway, when it's come to the Talmud, we must know, especially in our study, that repeating the study and understanding again and again and again is crucial for the success. So here we are, page 54, 8 lines from the top of the page. אמר לשמואל לרב יהודה, שיננה חטוף ואכול חטוף וישתה דעלמא דאזניאן מיני כהילולה דמי. He said to him, look, open your mouth in a simple way and eat and drink in order to enjoy today what you will not have tomorrow. So Rashi tells us that that's applied to the Torah study and Talmud study, which means read today Torah, study today, open your mouth and study today Mishnah and the Talmud. Why? Because you don't know what happened tomorrow. Tomorrow it may happen that there maybe as we said earlier, that tomorrow is the last day of your life. אמר לרב אמנונה, רב לרב אמנונה, בני, אם יש לך היטב לך בשם בשול תענוג ולמוות תתמהמה, which means you don't know how long you'll be around. Maybe they haven't called upon you the next day. So therefore, accumulate wealth as much as you can. And the wealth, the only wealth we're talking here is Torah and mitzvot. ואם תאמר הניח לבניי חוק. There are people who says, oh, I can't do that. Why? Because I have to leave a big inheritance for my children and my grandchildren. So the Talmud always oppose it. And they said, Bashol mi yagid lach. First of all, who told you that this inheritance will stay with you? I cannot tell you over my years in rabbinate how many people worked so hard and left a large inheritance, and the child came in and one case in extreme, he just took the money and decided with his girlfriend to go around the world and travel around the world. And that was money for the only son that the father left over who knows how many decades of hard labor. And this son, just the day after the finishing the morning, he just took his girlfriend, go around the globe. And I couldn't say much to him, I didn't have much influence on him, but I thought at that time that if his father knows what he is doing with all of his hard labor, he'll turn around in his grave, you know. So sometimes a person thinking, oh, I'm working so hard, but we said in the house of mourners, if you remember the Tehillim, we said, ve'azvu la'achirim chelam, people leave their wealth to others. So, and the Gemara said the second reason is, bnei adam domim le'isbe atzadeh, halalu notzetzim v'halalu novlim. So, Rashi here is a fascinating Rashi. Let's read a little bit Rashi. I explain it in my book, ביאורי הכלומר ברש"י על הש"ס. הללו נוצצים, כלומר, כשהם גדלים גדלה פרנסתן ואושרן עמהם, ואינך צריך להידאג עליהם. So basically Rashi here said that when the children grow, they have their own source of livelihood, and you should not worry about it. So I brought here a source from the book of Yechezkel, from Ezekiel chapter 11. The pasuk said, "V'notzetzim ke'en nechoshet kilel," which means that it's like they sprinkle, they come as a spark. But the idea is, Rashi here wants to, based on the our study in the previous page, we said that when she brought the food that it was filled of salt, it's ruined the food. So it means to say that sometimes a person spends an entire life putting in a great labor of something, but the reality is that it's not just not guaranteed. What happened with the grass is that you're planting a seed. You have a grass and flourishes, but you don't need to sow them. Sometimes the grass, you're cutting it and it's re-established by itself. So it means there is a source I brought here from the book called Nachlat Yaakov. He explains something that we're about to read in this parasha and read it again in Parashat Ki Tavo. The whole idea of serving Hashem besimcha uvetuv levav merov kol, that serving Hashem with act of happiness because of you have everything, and at that time you don't serving God properly. So he said there are two types of grass. There is one that you planted and it grow, and the other one it's grow by itself. So he said here the truth is that the second option, the second part is much more than the first, which means that a person should take, soon you see it in the many sources, take his wealth and use to do a mitzvot and do a good deed, because it's all depend upon heavenly decision. We said, the Gemara said in Beitzah, that on Rosh Hashanah the Almighty made decision what's going to happen to each person. So therefore, if a person worried all his life what's going to happen, the truth is that in many ways it's not his responsibility. His responsibility to make sure that they get a profession, it's a responsibility that they should go to schooling, etc. But the same way as a flower begin his life independently and is the source of living, it's like all the others of the creature of Hashem is dependent on God. The same way these children, there is somebody above, man de yayiv chaya yayiv mezone, the one giving life, giving also the source of livelihood. So in a sense, in this context, Rashi used the word klomar to tell us that when they grow, their livelihood will go with them, like the grass, and therefore a person
your responsibility as a parent then is to essentially give your children the tools that for them to move on to, so that they can support themselves.
Yes. But he said we should spend our time to accumulate wealth of Torah and mitzvot, because you don't know how long you'll be around, and the only thing that escorts a person, as they said in Pirkei Avot, when he is no longer among the living, is the Torah and mitzvot. It's like a famous story that say that about a person's need to say goodbye, so his friends come to funerals, his close family go to the graveside and cried, but then after burial, then he's all by himself, and the only friend that stay with him is not his wealth, it's only his Torah and mitzvot. So therefore a person should consider spending more time with study Torah and doing mitzvot. אמר רבי יהושע בן לוי, המהלך בדרך בין עמו לוויה יעסוק בתורה. You see people traveling, when I fly a lot, go on a different journey, you see people all the time with their Android and laptop and iPad and iPhone. So he said the escort, the proper escort for a person is the Torah. Because he said ki levayat chayim hem, because the Torah bring a special chen, a special good to a person. So it's a bringing healing to all of his problems. Rav Shach used to say, Torah magni umatzlig. Torah is the protection, is the healing. Chash berosho yasok b'Torah. So if someone has a headache, he should study Torah, which means they have an act of healing. You may use the term of mental healing, but the mystical part is that that the Torah carries a protection for a person. The Noam Elimelech, my great grandfather, said in his Tzetel Katan, he has a very short, some type of guidance for a person. It's several statements that he recommended people should say it every day. So the first statement is the idea that the person should not have a vanity time. If you are by yourself and you are, whatever the state you are, you have to occupy yourself with thinking of Torah and mitzvot. That's bring your healing. שנאמר כי לוויית חן לראשך, חש בגרונו יעסוק בתורה. The same apply to someone who has a throat issue. should occupy yourself in the Torah, שנאמר וענקים לגרגרותיך. חש במאב יעסוק בתורה. If you have intestinal problem, involved in the Torah, שנאמר רפאו תהיה לשריך. חש בעצמותיו יעסוק בתורה, שנאמר ושיקוי לעצמותיך. It's all different type of indirect healing by study Torah. חש בכל גופו יעסוק בתורה, שנאמר לכל בשרו מרפא. If there's a pain for the entire body, you should study Torah. I remember when I visited one of my teachers, and the only thing he asked is to bring the Talmud, and we studied together. He was hardly able to move, so I read for him, and we discussed the Talmud. But I remember looking around his bed, all the other patients are occupying watching TV. And that was a huge demonstration of a difference between someone who occupies himself and the only thing he cares to hear Torah and study Torah, versus other people that occupy themselves with vanity. אמר רב יהודה ברבי חייא, בואו רואה שלא כמידת הקדוש ברוך הוא מידת בשר ודם. Look and see the difference between Hashem and people. מידת בשר ודם, אדם נותן סם לחברו, לזה יפה, לזה קשה. The doctor prescribes something, some patients have a different reaction, some positive, some side effect and negative. And it's no such a thing that some medicine that treated the entire body. It's always a side effect, and plus and minuses. אבל הקדוש ברוך הוא אינו כן, but God is different. Why? נתן תורה לישראל, שם חיים לכל גופו, שנאמר לכל בזרו מרפא. When he gave us the Torah, that's the medicine that prescribes for healing to any type of illnesses. Now we're back to our subject, which is the importance of repeating our study out loud, to study and study out loud. אמר רב עמי, מהי דכתיב כי נעים כי תשמרם בבטנך? The importance of keeping the Torah in your intestine, which means in your heart. Yikonu yachdav al sfatecha. All the words of the Torah will be in your lips. So he said, "Matai divrei Torah niimim bizman shetishmerem bevitnecha." When is the Torah? It's pleasant when you be attached them together in your lips, which means when you articulate them audibly and expound them. ומתי תשמר ביתך עמדה אשר כל נדחדיו על שפתיך. רבי זרע אמר, מיחס שמחה לאיש במענה פיו ודבר בעיתו מה טוב. They said in the book of Mishlei in Proverbs 15, a man has joy in the answer of his mouth, and a word is due season how good it is. So when does a man have joy? ומתי שמחה לאיש? בזמן שמענה בפיו. When they ask him a halacha question, you have an answer. לשון אחר, מתי שמחה לאיש במענה פיו? בזמן שדבר בעיתו מה טוב. Which means you're asking a person an appropriate question when it's the season, the proper season. Festival of Sukkot, and answer properly, Festival of Passover, etc. So you have the answer in the proper time. In other words, you don't study Hilchot Tisha B'Av during the Festival of Sukkot. Okay, so everything has to be in a proper way. Rabbi Yitzchak Amar Mehacha, they said in the book of Dvarim, Deuteronomy 30, כי קרוב אליך הדבר מאוד בפיך ובלבבך לעשותו. The Torah said, but the matter, don't think that it's up in heaven. The Torah is very near to you. It's in your mouth, in your heart, that you may do it. ומתי קרוב אליך? When is the study of the Torah near to you? בזמן שבפיך ובלבבך לעשותו. When you open your mouth and study out loud, and the Maharsha said, and you repeat it and study out loud, so then, since you so much articulate the Torah study, it will be easy for you to follow what you study out loud. Rava Amar Meacha, Rava bring another source from Tehillim, from book of Psalm 21, Ta'avat libo natata lo, v'areshet sfatav bal manat asela. You have given him his heart's desire, and you have not withhold the request of his lips. What does that mean, a request of his lips? He said, matai ta'avat libo natata lo, when he giving him the heart desire, he said, bizman she'areshet sfatav bal manat asela, when you have not withheld the request of his lips, which means that he's always have in his lips the word of Torah. Rava Amar Ktiv Ta'avat libo natato lo, Ktiv Areshet sfatav al manat asela. So it means, in one hand they say that Hashem provided what a person's heart prompt. On the other hand, he said that a person need to express himself in his lips before he receive whatever he wished to. So they said Zacha. If you have, Rashi said Mazal Tov, Ta'avat libo natata lo. It can happen even without asking. Lo zacha, if he wasn't merited, v'areshet sfatav al manat asela, he needs to beg and struggle until he gets what he wished to. Tana dever Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, כל מקום שנאמר נצח סלע ועד, אין לו הפסק עולמי. Which means any time they use the term Netzach, Sela and Vaed, the matter will never cease. Netzach, דכתיב כי לא לעולם הריב ולא נצח יקצוף. So it means that it's not going to be forever, Isaiah said. סלע דכתיב, כאשר שמענו כן ראינו ברשם צבקות, ביר אלוקינו אלוקים מכונני עד עולם סלע. So again, that's again applied to the Sela. Vaed, דכתיב השם ימלוך לעולם vaed. So the Vaed meaning that God will be reign forever and ever. So you see all these sources. Now we continue with the idea of importance to study out loud, and one of the important idea is to study Torah in the matter of metaphors, in the matter of euphemism, of simile, all of that. It's a matter of study Torah properly. So now they use very much the idea of allegorical metaphor in order to study Torah properly. There is in a study, if you study critical thinking, so they teach you mnemonics, which means you have the acronym and you do the abbreviation. So here they bring mnemonics to know what's the topic we're going to study. The first allegory. אמר רבי אלעזר, מה דכתיב ענקים לגרגרותיך? What does that mean in the Mishlei that King Solomon said in Proverbs? That it will be anakim legargerotecha, that it will be like a chain about your neck. So he said, אם משימת המדמור כענק שהוא רף על הצוואר, ונראה ואינו נראה, תלמודו מתקיים בידו, ואם לאו, אין תלמודו מתקיים בידו. So if a person have a beard, you have a big a neck. So if they hang loosely on his neck, which means if he's a scholar and is not pushy and disruptive to others, so it is, but and it's also seen but not seen, which means just as a chain cover the clothes and the hair, so the scholars does not let himself be seen, and therefore his Torah study survive. And most of the idea here is that I want to tell us that the person can spend his life going around, have fun, traveling, while others focusing on study Torah. I know, Baruch Hashem, some of the comments that we get, David can attest to that over the time on the internet, is that people are traveling on the plane, the train, all different, and they spend the time every day to study with us Torah. So the life does not go in vanity. The second one, Amar Rabbi Elazar Mai Dechtiv Lechayav Ka'ugot HaBosem, they say in Song of Songs that his cheek is like a bed of spices. So they said, אם משים אדם עצמו כערוגה שהכל דשים בה, וכבושם זה שהכל מתבשמים בה, תלמודו מתקיימים לה ומתקיימים לה. So in other words, if a person doesn't have a haughtiness, is humble, and it's like everyone's step, but he teaching Torah to others, which the same as the perfume, you put it, and it go to others, which means everyone have a chance to smell the odor, so it will carry on. It's otherwise will not endure. The third one, V'amar Rabbi Elazar Mai Dechtiv Luchot Even. The Torah said in Shmot, in Exodus 31, that the tablets was made out of stone. אם אדם משים עצמו וחייו כאבן זו, שאינה נמחית, תלמודו מתקיים בידו, ואם לאו אין תלמודו מתקיים בידו. Which means that if his cheek is not tired to go again and again and again and study. ואמר רבי אלעזר מאי דכתיב חרוט על הלוחות. They said that the tablets, the word inscription was on those tablets. אלמלא תשתברו לוחות הראשונות לשכחת תוכם ישראל. If Moshe Rabbeinu not broke the first tablets, the Torah will continue on, because Moshe Rabbeinu broke it as a result of golden calf, and but this one wasn't in a sense of the Hashem's finger, but it was by Moshe Rabbeinu, so it's a different. So the idea is that it's inscribed, unlike God for everlasting. It says Moshe Rabbeinu, we need to constantly repeat it. רב אחא בר יעקב אמר, אין כל אומה ולשון שולטת בהם, שנאמר חרות אל תקרא חרות אלא חירות, which means this is the act of freedom, that no one in any nation can control that, but that's expression of freedom. Otherwise we are enslaved. And they said, who is the free one who studied Torah? Marav Matna Mai Dechtiv Midbar Matana. What does that mean? From desert to Matana. This is the name of the place. They said in the book of Bamidbar 21. אם אדם משים עצמו כמדבר, זה שהכל דשים בה, again, it doesn't have a haughtiness like a wilderness, At the one step, Talmudo mitkem bedo. Im Lav and Talmudo mitkem bedo. Otherwise, it doesn't have the Talmud for a long time. Rava, bred Rav Yosef bar Chama Avamita de Rav Yosef Ba'adei. So he was unhappy because he felt that he is like a little bit arrogant. Kimata Ma'alei Yom Kippurei, when it happened the eve of the Day of Atonement, Amar az Ayzel va'afaiseh, I'm going to please Rav Yosef. Az Ashkechah Lishamedi Kamazil Kasa, he saw his attendants that he prepared the wine. In those days, the wine was very strong, so always they combine it with water. So you have an attendant that did it for him. Amar lehavli v'mzegiana, let me do that. Yav lemazgi. So the attendant heeded for Rav Yosef. Now Rav Yosef was blind, so he didn't see it. Keretameh Amar, when he tasted the wine, he said, Dami ay meziga lemziga de Rava b'red Rav Yosef bar Chama. The way that they put together the wine, he knew exactly what type you need to combine. So because of that, he recognized. Amar le'anau, he said, this is me. Amar lo titiva kareich, which means stand, don't sit. Adam mefarash li anikrai. You not still until you explain to me the pasuk. What does that mean? That they travel in the wilderness. Amar lei, im adam mesim atzmo k'midbar ze shakol dashim bo, התורה נתן לו במתנה, וכמעט שנה למתנה, נחלו אל. So if he humble, Hashem inherited to him the Torah, and it means that that he's constantly, the Netziv said, that he's constantly like a flowing spring water, that he constantly improve himself and have a better knowledge of Torah in the world. שנאמר מתחנה לנחליאל, כיוון שנחלו אל עולה לגדולה. Because Hashem inherited him, he go high in importance. שנאמר מנחליאל במות, it's like highest level. ומגיס ליבו, but if he become an arrogant, הקדוש ברוך הוא משפילו, Hashem lower him. שנאמר מבואות הגיא, that from the highest to lowest. ואם חוזר בו, but if he changes way from being arrogant, הקדוש ברוך הוא מגביהו, שנאמר כל גית ינסה. Hashem will uplifted him. אמר רב הונא, מאי דכתיב, חייתך ישבו בה, תכין בתורתך לעני אלוהים. So he said, מאי דכתיב, what does that mean? חייתך ישוב בה, they said in Tehillim 68, the word chayatcha, which is the flock found and dwelling in you, Hashem, prepare on you goodness for the poor. So what does that mean? אם אדם משים עצמו כחיה זו שדורסת ואוכלת, so if a person repeats the same as the animal that tramples its prey and eats it immediately, which means he repeats his study, which means that the soil and eat, if a scholar is not particular about maintaining his honor during his Torah study, so he said, Talmudo mitkem bedo, so he's going to, the Torah study will endure. Otherwise it's the opposite. Vim second, HaKadosh Baruch Hu oseh lo suda ba'atzmo. Hashem will prepare a special goodness for him, a meal, feast for him. שנאמר תכין בטובתך לעני אלוהים. They said that, oh you, or God, prepare your goodness to the poor. So God, in His goodness, will Himself prepare a feast for the poor. So Rashi explained that it's like poor is nothing poor but knowledge. And the Maharsha said that it's God Himself, like we said in the Haggadah, God Himself, not by the Shaliach, not by emissary, but He Himself. For him and no one else does that. אמר רבי חייא בר אבא, אמר רבי יוחנן, מאי דכתיב נוצר תאנה יאכל פריה. What is said in Proverbs, he who guard the fig tree shall eat its fruit. למה נמשלו דברי תורה לתאנה? Why the matter of Torah is compared to a fig tree? מה תאנה זו? Just as this fig tree. 54b, כל זמן שהאדם משמש במוצא בתאנים. So, what's the difference between fig and other tree? You tell me. What's the difference?
Between a fig tree and other trees?
Yes. Rashi said here that the figs will not make it one time. And some during their season, some others. So, which means always when you touch a fig tree, you find some of the figs already. Av divrei Torah, the same as Torah. כל זמן שהאדם הוגה בהם, מוצא בהם טעם. As long as a person occupy himself with the Torah, you study parasha, you study the Talmud. Every time you study something in the Torah, you discover a new idea, a new thing. It's endless process. אמר רבי שמואל בר נחמני, מה דכתיב, איילת האבים ויעלת חן. What does that mean? They said in Mishlei. So the Torah is like ayala, like gazette, right? למה נמשלו דברי תורה? גזל. אוקיי, למה נמשלו דברי תורה לעגלת? לומר לך מה איילה רחמת צר וחביבה על בועלה כל שעה ושעה ראשונה, אז דברי תורה חבים על לומדיהם כל שעה ושעה ראשונה. It's a compare to that animal, which means the Torah, the Maharsha said, will be something that even we get used to that. Every time you find a new things and bring you a new joy. ויעלת חן, שמעלת חן על לומדיה, which means that every time you feel a joy. How? The דעה היא רבועה בכל עת, like you immerse yourself, you like the same. They bring an example as a metaphor of a baby. It means, למה נמשלו דברי תורה כדעת מדד? זה כל זמן שהתינוק משמש בו מוצא בו חלב, ודברי תורה כל זמן שאתה בוגע בהם מוצא בהם טעם. This, it's just a metaphor, and we compare it to a breast, meaning the same way as the baby search for milk to suckle, so you find it's the same way the Torah, you find a new meaning of them each and every time you study. באהבתה תשגה תמיד, which means that you always ravished with her love. So it means the love of the Torah should always distract you from worldly matter. כגון רבי אלעזר בן פדת, אמרו עליו על רבי אלעזר שהיה יושב ועוסק בתורה בשוק התחתון של ציפורי, זדינו מושל בשוק העליון של ציפורי. Which means that he was so occupied in the Torah that his clock were lying in the upper part of the tzipori, which means that he was so focusing, he will act in this unusual way. אמר רבי יצחק ברבי אלעזר, פעם אחת בא אדם לתלו ומצא בו שרף. Someone wants to steal this cloth from him because he lost it, he forgot. And Maharsha said that Hashem sent for him a snake, poison snake, that avoided those people, thieves, to take it from him. תנא דבר רבנן, מהי דכתיב רוכבי אתונות סחורות יושבי על מדין והולכי על דרך שיחו? This is a pasuk from the book of Judges chapter 5. They said, you that ride on the white donkey, you that sit on the rich cloth, and you that walk by the way, tell of it. רוכבי אתונות, this is like again metaphor. You are the ride on the white donkey, אלו תלמידי חכמים שהולכים מעיר לעיר ומדן לדן בתורה. This applied to a student of Torah that they go and travel, because they said in chapter 4 in ethics of the father, you should spend the time to go. So a person forsake all the vanity in life and he focus on to study Torah, and he travel to study Torah. צחורות שעושים אותה כצהריים, so it means צחורות, white, of those who make it clear as noon, which means make the Torah comprehensible. So Tzohoraim, it's again, it's the idea that it's the middle of the day, that everything is clear. יושבי על מדין שדנים דין אמת לאמיתו. So it means that אמת לאמיתו, it's a repetition, but the idea is that people who sit in a rabbinic court and judge according to the absolutely true judgment. Ve'olchei, elu ba'alei mikra. People who walk, that's a metaphor to Maharsha said, that people go step by step with a matter of the Torah, meaning reading and understanding the Torah. Al derech elu ba'alei mishnah. By the way, they are more important that they involve with studying Mishnah, because that's the path for Torah. The Maharsha said, Sichu elu ba'alei Talmud shekol sichatam divrei Torah. That this tell of it, it's the people who study Gemara at Talmud, that all of their conversation, it's always relate in the matters of Torah, that you can derive even from look like a regular conversation. There is something involved with Torah, with the people involved with Talmud. Amar Rav Shizvi, Mishum Rabbi Lazar ben Azariah, Mai dechtiv lo yacharoch remiyat tzeido. What does that mean in the Proverbs 12? The slothful man will not rouse his catch. So here they speak in a metaphoric way. They speak about the hunter. So they said lo yichye velo yarich hamim tzayad aramai, which means if someone just reads and not repeats, so he's like pretend to be a scholar, but it's basically not substantial. So he said, will not, either you say literally, will not merited a long life, or it means that he doesn't have a length of life for his studies. It's a transient. So Rashi here said, Ein ze ramai ela shoteh. It's not someone who's a cheater or thief, but stupid, fool. והקובץ על יד הוא הרמאי והרום בדבר והוא יחרוד, כלומר יתקיים בידו. So Rashi here explained that it's like an allegorical point. I explained from my book, Biroa Klomar Berashi. It's based on Gemara in Yevamot 35. So basically Rashi said here that the person is fooling himself. Lo yacharoch is something that expression of lack of success. According to Rav Sheshet, it is a success. So he explains that that it's like a person is fooling himself. He's thinking that he is successful, but he's not, because it doesn't internalize. If he's not keep study it and go in depth to understand it, so he can study it, but it will not carry something that internalize fully. And so he said, כצייד הרמאי שמשבר גף ראשון ראשון שהוא לוכדו שלא יברח, which means that it's like someone who's fooling himself. It's not something that it appears successful, but Rashi explaining Kelomar that eventually it's not a successful way, because it's not putting the proper time and effort. Rav Sheshet Amar Tzayad Ramai Yacharoch. So, which means again that it's not he is hunting something that doesn't carry it in the future. כי עת הרב דימי אמר משל לצייד שצד ציפורים. אם ראשון משבר כנפיו ומשתמר, ויבלע ומשתמר. So each time he caught a different bird, you need to take away the wings. Why? Because otherwise the minutes they turn around, they run away. So he tried to say in the Torah, if you repeat and repeat and repeat, it will stay. Otherwise, it disappear. אמר רבא, אמר רב זכור, אמר רב יהונה, מאי דכתיב הון מהבל ימעט וקובץ על יד ירבה. They said in Mishnah in Proverbs 13, if a person gets a lot of wealth, but he spent it on vanity, meaning he get it when it's come easy, it goes easy. But versus if a person works very hard which means it's not come toward the cheating others, taking advantage of others, but it's by the clean hand and honesty, which take a great effort, so that will be sustainable. Otherwise, it will not. אם עושה אדם תורתו חבילות חבילות, מתמעט, if he accumulate, but just for the sake of accumulation, so it's not going to be for long term. ואם לאו, that he doesn't study 5 different subjects, but he focus on one subject, קובץ על ידו, so it means that he collected it and it remained by him. ירבה, אמריו הידעי רבנן להלמיתא ועברי עלה. So he said, I wish that everyone, Marsha said, follow this instruction. אמר רב נחמן בר יצחק אנא עבדתי ויקיים בידי. I was very strict to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat my study many times until it was very clear to me, and only then I continued study, and that way I carry that study and it's not disappear. I have it in my hand. Next one is very important phase, which is teach us how Moshe Rabbeinu teach Torah to Am Yisrael. Tanu Rabbanan. Keitzad Seder Mishnah. That's a common question that people ask. How exactly the Torah transmitted orally to Am Yisrael? Moshe lamad mipi hagvura, which means he learned from Hashem 4 times. Nichnas Aaron, when Aaron came in, and Veshana lo Moshe pirko, and Moshe Rabbeinu repeats what he learned. Nistalek Aaron, when Aharon moved from his seat, V'yashav lismol Moshe, so he said on his left. So they always said that the proper decorum is when you walk with your teacher or you sit, it should be on the left side. Nichnesu banav, when the sons of Aaron came in and they sit with Moshe Rabbeinu, v'shana lahem Moshe pirkan. So Moshe repeat himself 2nd time what he taught his brother Aharon. Nistalku banav, son left, Elazar yashav limin Moshe, v'itamar lismol Aaron. His 2 sons, Elazar was on the right side because he was older, and Itamar was on the left of Aaron. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda disagreed, and he said, Le'olam Aaron limin Moshe chozer, which means when the sons of Aaron left, Aaron was stood up and he sat on left of Moshe Rabbeinu, which means he was in his right side. So it means because, again, it was an honor, Rashi said, for Moshe Rabbeinu to be on his right side. Nichnesu zkenim. So the Rambam said that that's applied to the 70 elders. V'shana lahem Moshe pirkan. So Moshe Rabbeinu repeats it. Nistalku zkenim nichnesu kolam v'shana lahem Moshe pirkan. So you see the repetition of studies, right? That he did it several times, and now he told everyone. Basically, they call it Mevakshei Hashem. Not everyone, all the 60 reborn, all the people, but those who really care to learn. נמצאו ביד אהרון 4, ביד בניו 3, ביד הזקנים 2, וביד כל העם 1. Which means Aaron heard it 4 times, sons 3, elders 2, and everyone else heard it once. Nistalek Moshe, when Moshe Rabbeinu left, shana lahem Aaron pirko. Aaron repeats what he studied by Moshe Rabbeinu. Nistalek Aaron, shanu lahem banav pirkan. When Aaron left, so his son taught what they learned from Moshe Rabbeinu. Nistalku banav v'shanu lahem zkenim pirkan. When the sons left, the elders repeated. Nimtza biyad hakol 4, which means if you count it properly, you see that each party study 4 times. מכאן אמר רבי אליעזר, חייב אדם לשנות לתלמידו 4 פעמים. The person should teach and repeat his studies 4 times, מקל וחומר. ומה אהרון שלמד מפי משה ומשה מפי הגבורה? Think about Aaron, that he himself was a very big giant in the Torah's studies, and he learned all of his erudition from Moshe Rabbeinu, that he himself was very erudite in Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu studied from Hashem. So therefore, קח אדיוט מפי אדיוט על אחת כמה וכמה. A average person that is study needs to repeat 4 times. רבי עקיבא אומר, מניין שחייב אדם לשנות לתלמידו על שילמדנו. How do you know that the person needs to do even more than 4 times, if needed, until he get the point? שנאמר, ולמדה את בני ישראל. The Torah said in דברים 31, you should teach it to עם ישראל. ומניין עד שאת סתורה בפיהם. How do you know that it should be clear in their understanding? שנאמר, שימה בפיהם, put in their mouth. ומניין שחייב להראות לו פנים. How do you know that the teacher has to להראות פנים literally meaning to show that he has likeness, but it means here to make sure that he explain it clearly. So he said, שנאמר, ואלה המשפטים אשר תשים לפניהם. That is the obligation upon a teacher to explain it clearly to the student. ולגמרו כולו ממשה. So why they need to repeat 4 times? They can all learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. So they said, כדי לחלוק כבוד לאהרון ובניו וכבוד לזקנים, in order to honor everyone else, his, Aaron, his son, and the elder. So they said, ונאו לאהרון ויגמר ממשה. So ויעללו בניו ולגברו מאהרון. So each party should go 1 time, learn, and they teach the other party. Aaron, and then his son. ויעלו הזקנים ולאלפו מבניו ולגברו לכולו ישראל. So each party will go once and learn it. So they say, כיוון דמשה מפי הגבורה גמר. Because Moshe Rabbeinu learned it from God, מסתיה מילתא. So it helps that others understand quickly. אמר מר, רבי יהודה אומר, עולם אהרון ימין משה חוזר. Remember we said that Aaron was turned to the right of Moshe Rabbeinu. כמה נעז לה? So whom we go by this? הריתניה, 3 שהיו מלכים בדרך. Oh. So he said, 3 people that walk in the way. הרב באמצע. The teacher, the rabbi, should be in the middle. הגדול בימינו והקטן בשמאלו. The most honorable be on the right, and then the youngest on the left. Leima Rabbi Yehuda velo k'Rabbanan, which means Aaron sit on the right and not like the sages that sat on the left. So the Gemara responds and said, afilu teima Rabbanan, you may say that that's go by the sages, which means that they go by the right, umishum ticha de Aaron, because doesn't want to impose on Aaron to stand up from his left of Moshe Rabbeinu and go to his right. Now is very important lesson. Rabbi Preida hava le'ahu talmida hava tanale 400 zimnei vegamar. That he taught, again, you either say that is correct number or you say that is a language of exaggeration to explain the concept. That he taught his student 400 times until the student understand. Yom achad bai'uha lemilta de mitzvah. One day they need Rabbi Preida to do some mitzvah. Tanalei velo gamar. He taught his student 400 times, but the student did not understand. Amar lei ha'idna ma'ishna. Why today is different than the others? Amar lei. The student said, the moments that people came here and said that they need you for something and you need to be occupied, I could not focus in my study. Because every moment I said to myself, Every moment you explain to me, even you repeat yourself, I figured out that you're about to leave. אמר לי, הבדעתי ואתנן לך. So let me repeat it. הדרתן לארבע מעזים נאחריני. So he repeats again another 400 times. Nafka bat kala. So voice came out. You can say in a literal sense that from heaven. ואמרה לי, ניחא לי דליספו לך ארבע מהשני עוד תזכו עד ודרך לעלמא דעתי. What do you prefer? Another 400 years of your life? Or that you merit that you and the new generation will reach Olam Haba, world to come. Amar, and I prefer the Nisku Anai V'Dair La'alma De'ate. I prefer instead of more years of life to have the whole generation reach the Olam Haba. Amar Le'em HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tnu Lo Zo V'Zo. So since he cared for all these generations, give him both. Give him a length of life and give him and his generation world to come. Now, we talk about the importance of making a acronym, like we said, mnemonics and things like that in a study in order to improve our study. Amar Rav Chizda, en Torah niknet ela besimanim. The best way to study properly, you have to make some type of acronym, some type of signals, landmark, so it will be easy for you to remember. So don't think that those ideas invented by somebody in the Board of Education or some contemporary scholar. It was in a Talmudic time. שנאמר, Sima befihem. I read one of those books that it was a textbook. I need to teach. They brought a source and they said, what do you think about this Aristotelian statement? And it was word by word from the book of Mishlei by King Solomon, which was so many years earlier than Aristotle. But unfortunately, the author of that book have a lack of knowledge in the Torah, in the Bible, so he attributed to much later. Anyway, they said, "Sima befihem, al tikrei sima ela simana." Don't call it, put it, but give him a like acronym, a signal. Shma the Rav Tachlifa from Ma'arava, when the Rav Tachlifa from the west, which is Eretz Israel, that it's always west of Babylon, said, Azal Amara Kamei Rabbi Abau. He went and he told that to Rabbi Abau. Amar Atun me'ata matnitula. You brought it from there. Ana acha matnitana. We learn it from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31. Hatzivi lach tziyunim, simi lach. Sign up a signposts for yourself. Establish your marker. So it means asut tziyunim la Torah. Establish mnemonic sign for the Torah. Umay mashna de hay tziyun lishna de simana. So how do you know that the tziyun mean denote a sign? Tichtiv v'ra'a etzem adam uvana etzlo tziyun. They said in Ezekiel 39, and sees a human bone, you shall set a sign by it, which means the sign that there is a source of ritual impurity at that spot. So it means that it carries something. Rabbi Lazar Amar Mehacha. What Rav Chizda said you can learn from the following text in the book of Proverbs, Mishlei 7. Emor la chokhma achotiyat umoda la bina tikra. He said to the wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your kingswoman. So what does that mean? Aseh modaim la Torah. Establish sign to convey the knowledge of Torah. So it's like we said in the book of Ruth, that she have a modah, she have someone, relative. So it means that with that mnemonics you remember it. Rav Amar aseh moadim la Torah. You should make a schedule, a appointed time to Torah study every single day. So Shulchan Aruch Yoredea 246. It is proper to study Torah out loud, and the reason is that you will not be forgotten so quickly. And also the Rambam and Chotam Torah said that not only a repetition of study many times, but it's also the humbleness is crucial for understanding the Torah, which means the arrogant do not truly possess Torah. Only one who humbled himself and sit at the feet of the sages retain his Torah study. That's a famous word of the Rambam. And Shulchan Aruch said in Yoredea in 246, the Torah does not endure among those who study while providing themselves with comforts, including excessive eating or drinking. The Torah is it's something that the person needs to, like he said in the chapter 6 in Pirkei Avot, the act of humbleness is crucial. And one who teaches Torah should not get angry with his students. Rather, he should review the lesson several times until the student understand. And that's Shulchan Aruch Yoredea 246. שלושה שהיו מלכים בדרך, if three people are walking together along the road, the teacher should walk in the middle, with his leading disciple to his right and the other student on his left. The student should walk slightly behind the teacher and a little to the side. That's the shach. And it's all a sign of respect. And the last halakha of today is Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 155. Aseh mo'adim laTorah. Set appointed time for Torah study. It is proper to go to a house of study and study Torah for a fixed amount of time every day after prayer, or should a person have a designated time that unchangeable? I know that some of my teachers have that rules, including my father, God give him many years, that they, no matter what, the study of a daily Daf Yomi or whatever they study is unchangeable regardless to their circumstances, and that was part of their routines regardless to the days, the situation, etc. So that's the idea of Aseh mo'adim laTorah, set appointed time for Torah study.